I just remembered a video that I posted, I think it was 2022 or 2021, and I think it was maybe 2023. I had a pair of shoes that reminded me of Mr. X, and I had a short video about that for 5 seconds. But anyways, welcome back everyone. Yep, I guess, what time is it? Oh, it's time for a new video, why would you ask? But yeah, so there's a lot of anti-consumer stuff in games. Now, there's a lot of anti-consumer stuff that's happening in games. And, well, I sort of want to talk about 5 issues that we've seen in gaming. And also have Todd Howard in the thumbnail. He didn't do anything wrong this time, I just wanted to make a Todd Howard joke. But that's besides the point. Anyways, please release Elder Scrolls 6, Todd Howard. It's been 8 years since it got announced. The Xbox. Everyone's favorite second choice. Okay, jokes aside, yeah, the Xbox has had a really interesting history. I mean, it went from an underdog in the 2000s to being a very good console in the mid-2000s to basically throwing everything out the window in the early 2010s. Yep, we're talking about the Xbox One. In 2013, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were released to the public. And instead of something happy, well, Microsoft decided that they really wanted to shit all over everyone and take 2 steps back from all the goodwill that they were gaining from the Xbox 360. Now, it was eventually revealed that the Xbox One would not include any backwards compatibility, and you would have to sign in onto the console once, I think, every day in order to really keep your library. It's scary because this actually seems very true right now, and trust me, I'll get into them here in a moment. A lot of people did call this stuff out, and Don Matrick, who was he was the high member of Xbox at the time, said one simple thing: we have a product for people who don't have internet, or kind of something whatever like that, and it's called an Xbox 360. Now, he's basically just telling people, well, if you don't want to deal with the Xbox One and all its clunky bullshit, fuck right off and go get an Xbox 360. And that's what I did, 3 years after this happened. Now, I get it, Xbox wanted to push gaming into a bunch of other scary stuff like cloud gaming and now owning your games, but essentially telling your partners to just stick with the last product you made because they had skepticism about the new console, that's not really how you really handle this stuff. Now, sure, Xbox eventually would kind of get back on their feet again with the Xbox One and Game Pass, and the Xbox Series X, for the most part, has kind of somewhat maybe done well, aside for all the price increases, and I think there's another rumored price increase. Why do you ask that gaming's kind of in trouble these days? Basically, letting your customers know that you really just don't care what they think is not a really good way to market your new console. And of course, this would not be the first time that we've had this happen before. And at number 4, we of course have everything Sony. Now, that tweet that I just showed, that's basically when I think Sony lost all goodwill that they've ever had. Now, originally this was going to be talking about Sony, the PSN, and of course the Helldivers scandal, because a year or so back, they made it so that Helldivers 2 needed a PSN account in order to play it on PC, which meant that, well, some people could not be able to play the game anymore because of this, because PSN is not available in every country. That kind of made it so that some people would be losing access to the game. And it took that long for the video to come out. But last month, or kind of a month or so ago, okay, it's been a bit of time, but Sony announced that they are no longer going to be doing physical discs for the PlayStation 5 onwards, Now, well, okay, it's kind of PlayStation consoles, but yeah, it's probably going to be the PS5 too. Unless Sony just magically shits out the PS6 this year. But this ruffled up a lot of feathers because, first of all, a lot of people are accusing Sony of creating a digital monopoly. Not to mention, digital doesn't always mean it's safe. As seen with like 500 movies that Sony took down on their systems because they could not renew the rights of them, or they just did not care enough to renew the rights. Yeah, a lot of people really upset about that. Not to mention is the fact that, well, games also get shut down. We've seen it multiple times. This year, Anthem got shut down. So if you have the game, you can no longer play it. Now, there's some games that you can play offline. Anthem is not one of them. Same with The Crew. And this is causing a lot of concern with a lot of people because, well, this is quite unfair with what Sony's doing. And it also gets worse because you have to log into your account once every month or so in order to avoid losing your games. Because Sony's made it possible that if you don't log into your account once a month, well, any games you had could just magically be gone. And they'll also delete your account within 36 months if it's not being used. Now that one's not too bad, but I mean, losing your games if you don't play on your console for a month, that's kind of dumb. Not to mention the fact that they're only going digital. It's really frustrating to a lot of people, including myself, who mostly play physical games because it's more cost effective. I mean, yeah, you can find digital titles that are pretty cheap, but a lot of them are still at full price even years later. I mean, Call of Duty Ghosts, a game that came out all the way back in 2013, is still $60 to this day. Almost 13 years later. Not to mention it also getting into a lot of controversy because they're shutting down the PS3 store along with the PS Vita store. So a lot of people are really upset about that. Frankly, honestly, this probably should have been #1 on the list because a lot of people are really hating on Sony for this one. Which is deserved, by the way. The Nintendo Switch. Yeah, so this is talking about, well, two things. First of all, there's actually three things. First of all, there's the fact that the Joy-Cons still do not work at times on the Switch too. There's the fact that the Pro controllers kind of suck. There's also the fact that Nintendo could potentially brick your consoles if you somehow anger them. Not to mention there's the fact that there's also price increases and a bunch of keycard stuff. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of a little upset with Nintendo for all of this. I think the biggest issues that people have with Nintendo is, well, kind of the keycard stuff, but also Joy-Con stuff, but also the fact that the Switch 2 is seeing a price increase after a year. Now, this isn't just an issue on Nintendo's part, this is an issue on Xbox's part and Sony's part too. But the Switch, it doesn't really have much of a reason to get a price increase. It does not use any SSD if I recall correctly. The PS5 and Series X do, so the Switch getting a price increase just seems a little unjustified. Well, now with all that negativity out the way, how about we play The Crew? Oh. The Crew, an Ubisoft game that got taken offline and deleted from people's libraries. Now, The Crew was shut down a few years ago, and Ubisoft got into quite a bit of controversy with this one, because not only did the service get shut down, but they also made it impossible for people to play this game if they even owned it. And of course, EA has also done this with Anthem. You cannot even play Anthem anymore. This was a huge source of controversy because, well, it serves as an argument to support physical games but also serves as an argument on why you don't own digital material. Because if these companies can just simply go into your library and remove access from this game, do you really own it? Should refunds be sued? Or should just customers just go ahead and fuck themselves? That's really the biggest question these days when it comes to digital releases, and why people are really hating on Sony at this point. And of course, my number one pick, which honestly should not be my number one pick, is of course Toys to Life and Missing Out. Skylanders. Now, obviously it's not just simply talking about this game, but this was kind of poster child of Toys to Life. Now, there's a lot of games like this, like Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, and a bunch of other stuff that kind of made it so that you had to go out and collect all these figurines just to really unlock new stuff in the game. Is it really a surprise that Activision was behind one of the more popular entries in the series? Yeah, so Toys to Life, I personally think was a bit of an anti-consumer idea, mostly because, well, I mean, mostly when it comes to unlocking characters in games, you just gotta play the games. But with this one, well, you just gotta fork out enough cash and be lucky. I mean, thank God this was before Amiibo really took off, because otherwise this might have been a pain in the ass to really find some of these characters. Of course, these days it's probably a pain in the ass to find these characters because this game has been out for like a decade at this point. Actually, more than a decade. But I personally think that Toys to Life was a bit of an anti-consumer move, because I think it encourages the fear of missing out, and not to mention, games should really just be complete in package and not laden about with all sorts of DLC. Obviously, this does go for other games too, but, well, this kind of was the one that did come to mind. But these are, of course, my top 5 worst anti-consumer moments in gaming. I'm sure that I'll be doing another one of these videos, and this was kind of fun getting to rip apart Sony and Xbox. But until then, thank you all for watching, have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.